Well, hi, I'm Rosebean and I just updated my PNG tuber. But regardless, today's video is going to be about Honkai Star Rail, but specifically, I'm going to be drawing some new skins. Honkai Star Rail came out in 2022, if my mind is correct, but they still don't have that many skins, and the skins that they do have are not that good in my opinion, because they don't really add to the character, they don't really change the silhouette or the colors, but these ones that I am drawing will. So the theme of both of these skins is apples and cottagecore, and if you hear some weird shuffling noises in the background, that is probably my cat walking on my desk. So first up we have Robin, my queen. She's so beautiful, has a beautiful singing voice, one of my favorite characters. But the idea behind this skin was, what if Robin went on vacation and went to an apple orchard? That's pretty much what I thought of. Or maybe this is an alternate universe where she never became a singer and just lived on an orchard. As you'll see later, the apples that she's holding will be green, but that's because they go really well with the palette that I'm going to give her, and adding red to something that's already purple and green is probably not going to look the best. Besides, green apples are super underrated. So the first layer of this dress is the nice sagey green color, that's the part with the music notes, and then there's another layer over that, which is this darker, more emerald green shade. And I really like how I cut the dress because it looks very similar to her original dress where there was just a singular panel of purple. But of course, instead of purple, it's all green, with the little accent of pink, which will come in with the ribbons. When it comes to making skins for a game like this, you want to try to keep the design as similar in structure as you can to the original. That's because it's a lot easier to animate instead of having to put new bones into the rig and then reanimating the same stuff. But so with this dress, because only the main difference is the sleeves and the ribbons, it would be very easy to just change that. The biggest problem would probably be the hair with the little bow in it. Because of course a ponytail is going to be a lot different in structure than her original long down hair. But something I've noticed with Honkai Star Rail is that they really like having their characters with long hair that's just put down and not really in a ponytail. But of course they do put like some pins and decorations in it. But I wonder if there's a specific reason why the character designers and animators do that. Another thing that I did to change the silhouette slightly but not make it too hard to animate is that her hip wings are actually out. Now, in the original drawing, you can kind of see it, she has little wings on her hips, and so does her brother Sunday. You can kind of see it in their outfits. Now, it is not 100% confirmed that these are actual wings, but in my mind they are, because some people also see them as just a decoration. But her wings are out and they would move in this skin. There's actually a little bit of symbolism and lore behind their wings. So there's this theory that stems from the fact that we've seen Robin and Sunday's mother, and we saw her ear wings and they were very big compared to Robin and Sunday's. So the theory is that they had their wings on their ears clipped, but they have to hide the ones on their waists. It's very interesting and I want to see more of it. But it is also just possible that they wanted to keep the ear wings small so that way they could be much easier to move around and model and stuff. But other than that, there's no more evidence to back this theory because those are the only Halloweens we've ever seen. It would appear that my cat is back for round 2. Of course, when we're talking about bird people. Thanks for that, kitty. Anything you'd like to say? Okay, thank you. She just bumped into my mic again. I'm never gonna get anything done. And now that I have more colors down and the design is starting to come together, I can actually talk about the design more. So, obviously, I wanted to keep the palette as limited as possible because of the classic rules of art that the more colors, the worse it gets. But Honkai Star Rail definitely has super complicated palettes, so I did also try to add more colors while also staying kind of good, because I think that's Honkai Star Rail's biggest problem. They just keep adding more and more and more until the design gets too messy. But I mainly stuck with greens, pinks, and purples, because purple I can't get rid of because she already has that. So I chose to distribute a little bit more of the purple into the design by giving her a slight gradient of purple on all of her wings. Now in the original she doesn't have this gradient, but let's just say she rolled around in some purple chalk. The original reason why I made this design was actually related back to the apples. I wanted to make a more apple-inspired outfit or dress because it is like apple season, it's fruit season. So I looked at all the characters and I saw that Robin's eyes reminded me of green apples. So, right here, as you can see, I almost tried to make her eyes look like apples by giving them a pupil that almost looked like seeds, but then I thought that's a little weird that she has two pupils. But by the way, that is a real thing that can happen in real life. But I didn't want to change the design that much, so I just gave her a regular pupil with a slightly more appled color eye. You know, at this rate, this video is more about apples than actually about the character designs with how many times I've said the word apple. And here I am doing the final finishing touches on the design. I was going to give her the 3 dots of makeup under her eye like in the original, just change the colors, but I didn't want to do that because they looked like weird freckles and not really like makeup. But then, of course, I finished the design off with her halo with very similar colors to the original. And here is the final drawing with a little bit of extra shading that I added later. Now it's time for the next skin, which belongs to her twin, Sunday. Now, before I even talk about the character design or the character himself, I just have to say, Honkai Star Rail treated them really well for being twins, because a lot of times, twins are treated as a singular unit. You can see a lot of times in media, twins are just treated as that, twins, and there's nothing really outside of that. But they have their own personalities, their own choices, their own way of thinking, and that's really cool to see. Now it's time for me to actually talk about the character. You see, I am not the biggest fan of Sunday. Especially initially, I really didn't like him. Now that he's turning his life around and being a better person, I can agree with the Sunday fans, but he's not my favorite, by far. Now I can talk about the actual outfit, because again, like Robin's, this one's theme is cottagecore and apple orchards. For me, Sunday was definitely harder to design because cottagecore is a much more feminine aesthetic than anything, because it's like, oh, frolicking and having a picnic in a field with flowers and baby rabbits. And that is very feminine energy, but I tried my best when designing Sunday. For this one, I kinda didn't try to keep a similar silhouette because I couldn't think of anything that was both cottagecore and kept the silhouette of the original, so I just kinda went with what I thought looked good. So I leaned slightly more on the tactical and orchard side of the aesthetics because it's more like an outfit you would wear in the early morning to collect the apples before the critters get them, and not, oh, la da 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 da, I'm frolicking, I love frolicking, sort of vibes, which I think fits Sunday and his personality a lot better. Also, let me just clarify, when I'm saying tactical, I don't mean military, I mean more of something that could be used for a work thing rather than just looking good. And I guess now is as good a time as ever to say I'm pretty sure I messed up with the colors because the line art is blue, but it doesn't really go with the rest of the drawing. I was trying to make it so that way the blue of his hair goes in more places and isn't just a random accent. But I really could have done better with this one. It is not my best work. If I tried to do this piece again in the future, I would definitely change the brown to be more of a chocolatey brown, and then I would change the greens in the outfit to be more like Robin's greens, where they're a slightly bit more bluish teal, because those greens went really good with her hair, but these greens definitely do not complement Sunday's hair. I probably won't remake this again. I was just super uninspired, and I wanted to do both Robin and Sunday, but I couldn't find a good theme for both of them, so I thought, oh, green apples, and kind of just ran with it. But yeah, I definitely could have done better. But I am getting pretty bored talking about him, and this speed paint is really long for some reason, So here is the final product. Again, added some more stuff off camera. And there you go, 2 new skins. Sorry the art isn't super good in this video. Drawing all these new talk sprites was kind of tiring. But regardless, stay safe, drink water, and thanks for watching.